this news live on viewer television. I am Nsikak Evans. The headlines. Two abducted Kaduna Baptist students regained freedom, one still held. Olubadan of Ibadan, Oba Saliu Adetunji dies at 93. Plus, South Africa bids final farewell to Archbishop Desmond Tutu. The chairman of the Christian Association of Nigeria, Kaduna State, Reverend John Hayab, has confirmed that 120 abducted students of Bethel Baptist High School in Kaduna State have been freed so far. In a statement issued in Kaduna, Hayab recalled that in the early hours of July 5, 2021, bandits invaded the school located at Maraban, Demishe Chikun local government area of Kaduna State and kidnapped 121 students. He said the number of the released students includes one student who was freed on December 28, 2021, and another one who was freed on January 1st. The Olubadan of Ibadan, Oba Saliu Adetunji, has passed away at the age of 93. His death was confirmed by palace sources on Sunday. Confirming the Olubadan's death, Oyo State Governor Seyi Makinde said the news of the death of His Imperial Majesty Oba Saliu Adetunji Adeogungun Nimuso I came as a shock. Adetunji, who was crowned the 41st Olubadan on March 4, 2016, was born on August 26, 1928, to the family of Raji Olaiwola and Sobat Amokwe Adetunji in Adlusekere compound, Bokoyemoja, Ibadan. He grew up learning vocational jobs until he took up fashion designing as a means of living after moving into Lagos. While working as a fashion designer, Adetunji delved into musical records marketing until 1960, when he founded his first of 3 record label imprints called Babalaje Records, which housed notable Fuji music acts including Dauda Ekpoakara and Wasiu Ayinde Marshal. The federal government has disbursed about $300 million to the poor and vulnerable in the National Social Registry through the 5,000 naira cash transfers in 4 years. This was disclosed by the National Coordinator, National Social Safety Nets Coordinating Office, Apera Loa, in an exclusive interview with newsmen. The agency, which is under the Federal Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development, coordinates the National Social Safety Nets program. He also disclosed that 2 million households had benefited on an average of 5 individuals per household, which is about 10 million individuals. The NASCOs was established in 2016 by the federal government alongside the World Bank to strengthen social safety nets and social protection system in Nigeria in order to help end extreme poverty and promote shared prosperity. The Academic Staff Union of Universities has said that the 30 billion naira revitalization fund and 22.5 billion naira earned academic allowances totaling 52.5 billion naira released by the federal government is not enough to deal with the challenges facing the university system. The ASU president, Professor Emmanuel Sekede, noted in an interview with newsmen that there were a possibility that the union would still go on strike unless the government addressed its demands, including the 2009 agreement. The federal government had said it paid lecturers 30 billion naira revitalization fund and 22.5 billion naira earned academic allowances. He noted that it had made some progress in implementing the memorandum of understanding, including the government reached with the union. Osegede described the fund released by the government as a token payment, adding that it would not adding that it was not enough for lecturers to change their minds on the suspended strike. When News Live returns, worried by the environmental pollution caused by suits in some parts of River State, Governor Nyesom Wike has ordered the immediate shutdown of all illegal oil refinery in sites in the state. Details of these and more comes to you after this break. Stay tuned.
For over 2 years now, thousands of Nigerians and citizens of the world have tuned to viewer television for accurate and reliable reporting that has made the News Live one of the most trusted news programs on television. News Live is viewer television primetime news. We link to the best sources from around the world, source for news stories, deliver on the hour, and we provide in-depth news. My day in the newsroom is a little bit taxing, from sourcing for stories, getting reports from reporters, packaging reports, linking with correspondents, casting the news, creating interviews on subject matters. It's a whole lot, but as a journalist, I ensure timely delivery. My name is Joy Malik. I'm a news anchor and news producer here on Viewer Television.
Welcome back. If you're just joining us, this is News Live, a recap of our top stories. 2 abducted Kaduna Baptist students regain freedom, 1 still held. Olubadan of Ibadan, Oba Saliu Adetunji dies at 93. Plus, South Africa bids farewell to Archbishop Desmond Tutu. Worried by the environmental pollution caused by suits in some parts of River State, Governor Nyesom Wike has ordered the immediate shutdown of all illegal oil refinery sites in the state. He also directed local government chairmen, especially Port Harcourt City local government, to identify such sites and effect his order. He asked the council chairman and community leaders to identify and report to his office those behind illegal bunkering and crude oil refining sites in their localities for prosecution. Wike, who gave the order in his 2022 New Year message, said the directive stemmed from the failure of the federal government and security agencies to rein in those behind illegal oil bunkering and artisanal crude oil refiners in the state. There have been concerns over prevalence of sorts, a deep black powdery of flaky substance consisting largely of amorphous carbon produced by the incomplete burning of organic matter and some parts of the state. The National Drug Law Enforcement Agency confiscated cash assets and drugs valued at 120 billion naira from 11,341 traffickers and drug barons in 2021. The agency also successfully prosecuted and jailed 1,111 out of the 11,341 traffickers arrested between January and November 2021. The spokesman, NDLEA Femi Babafemi, who disclosed these in response to an inquiry from newsmen, said the agency had cancelled and rehabilitated 7,066 drug users. Babafemi said the agency will further take the battle to drug traffickers and barons in the new year, noting that the NDLEA would continue to frustrate traffickers. Meanwhile, the agency has observed that patients could not access controlled drugs such as opioid medication. It sought improved access and appropriate use of controlled medicines in the country. Talking about fight against insecurity, wanted bandit leaders Alhaji Ota and Kachala Ruga have been killed in a forest in Zamfara state. The notorious bandit commanders met their Waterloo after a Nigerian Air Force NAF aircraft under Operation Andari Daji acted on credible intelligence and bombarded the enclaves at Gusami Forest and Tesmere Village in Bruni Magaji local government area of the state. According to the newsmen, multiple airstrikes by the NAF jet, which were carried out in the early hours of yesterday, also eliminated Auta and Ruga's cohorts. Sources confirmed that dozens of bandits who had converged at the late Auta's residence for his burial were also struck by missiles of the military jet, with an unconfirmed number killed in the process. Now, the Kaduna State Police Command said its operatives raided a notorious bandits camp in the Sabon Forest in the Gabi local government area of the state and rescued 9 kidnapped victims. The command's public relations officer, ASP Mohammed Jalige, who disclosed these in a statement, also said the operatives, in collaboration with other security agencies, killed 1 bandit and arrested 2 others during the raid. He gave the names of the suspected bandits arrested as Rabi Baushe and Badamasi Usman, adding that they were taken into custody for further investigation. The police spokesman said the rescued victims had since been reunited with their families after undergoing medical checkup at the police medical facility in the state. He, however, noted that one Bashir Hussain, a kidnapped victim who sustained bullet wounds, was rushed to the Barrow Diko Teaching Hospital in Kaduna, the metropolis. No fewer than 7 traditional rulers and their family members have been abducted in the past 2 weeks. Checks by newsmen indicated that between December 15th and 31st, gunmen attacked traditional leaders in different parts of the country, including the southeast and southwest, after a security advisory by the Department of the State Services. While some were adopted and forced to part with huge ransom to regain their freedom, others were killed by the criminals. Findings showed that 4 monarchs were abducted and 2 killed. Also, 3 family members of a district head were kidnapped during the period under review. The DSS had on December 15th issued an advisory that very important persons, especially lawmakers and ordained workers, were prone to attacks during this period. The Security Police Public Relations Officer, Dr. Peter Afunaya, handed down the warning at a press briefing in Abuja. A former governorship aspirant in the 2019 election in Plateau State, Nkemi Nicholas Nshe, has been kidnapped by gunmen. Newsmen gathered that Nshe, a chieftain of the People's Democratic Party who had served as the chairman of Shedang local government area of the state at different periods in the past, was kidnapped at his residence in the council area in the early hours of Saturday. Governor Simon Lalong hails from Shedang local government area in the southern zone. Nshe's abduction came barely 24 hours after kidnappers released a traditional ruler in the neighboring central zone of the state, Charles Mato Daket. Before his release, the traditional ruler was abducted by gunmen at his palace in Gindrin Community, Mango local government area last Sunday around 1 a.m. He spent 5 days in the hands of the kidnappers who had demanded 500 million naira ransom. Still talking about insecurity in Sokoto State, where the governor of Rivers State, Nyesom Wike, has commiserated with the government of Sokoto State and the Sultan of Sokoto over the unwarranted killing of innocent citizens by bandits. Condemning the attacks, the governor said the government and the people of Rivers State consider the dastardly activities of marauding bandits as barbaric. Wike stated this when he and the governor of Sokoto State, Aminu Tamboa, paid a courtesy call on His Eminence, the Sultan of Sokoto, Alhaji Mohammed Saad Abubakar, in his palace in Sokoto over the weekend. Wike also thanked the Sultan for the role he has been playing to ensure the stability of the country. He said it takes somebody who has passion and undying love for the country to play the kind of role the Sultan has been playing to ensure stability and unity of the nation. The governor urged the Sultan not to relent in speaking for the oppressed, the less privileged, the poor, and rich Nigerians. The wife of the Oyo State Governor, Tamunominu Nini Makinde, has appealed to women, especially nursing mothers, to prioritize exclusive breastfeeding for their babies and newborns, saying that has proven to be the best way for children to live healthy lives. Citing many medical researches and findings to drive home her point, the wife of the governor said if nursing mothers breastfeed their babies well, they would save themselves the stress of health issues that may arise. Makinde said these on Saturday while receiving and welcoming the first babies of year 2022 on behalf of the state government. The Oyo First Lady, who was represented by the Commissioner for Women Affairs and Social Inclusion, Kafilat Olaiwola, appealed to parents not to compromise on the proper upbringing of their children, saying the society is better off when children are properly brought up with sound home training, and that the penance of addressing societal challenges must begin from the home.
I have a safety in the room. So I really appreciate this Makinde.
The wife of the Oyo State Governor.
I don't know what to say.
That's to show you that this year is going to be great. You know, in line with the prayers that our fathers used to say, Odo Ayabo. fún gbogbo wa. And that's telling us that this year we should expect more great things in Oyo State, more investment, more achievement for our governor and his wonderful team, and more grace for every one of us to be blessed with this year.
The federal government has said it expects $40 billion in private capital investments in digital infrastructure by 2025. The government disclosed these in its National Development Plan 2021 to 2025, Volume 1. According to the government, to unleash Nigeria's potential for industrialization and sustainable economic growth, it will take measures to digitize the economy and make digitalization a key driver of national economic development strategies. He said it will grow the digital economy from 10.68% to 12.54% and improve e-governance by 100% by 2025. He added that to unleash the nation's digital economic objective, it would need to improve legal framework of the sector through policy amendment and implementation, drive investment for infrastructural development through public funds and blended financing, prioritize skills development through the promotion of STEM and digital technology education, and drive local and foreign investments. The All Farmers Association of Nigeria has said it is determined to assist farmers to boost food production capacity in the country. The president of AFAN, Farouk Modi, said the association would empower farmers across the country with the knowledge and resources needed to engage in all year-round farming. He made the promise at the presentation of 12 tractors to farmers in Oyo State. Moody said the cultivation of food crops should no longer be limited to the rainy season, saying all year-round farming coupled with mechanization and modern agricultural practices would ensure increased output. Now, the federal government has announced the completion of 10 dams and 4 irrigation projects across 10 states. It also revealed that 6 irrigation projects were ongoing in 5 states, adding that the facilities were being developed to boost agriculture and support the nation's quest for food security. It disclosed these in the 2021 report of the Federal Ministry of Water Resources on the status of dams and irrigation projects completion from 2015 till date. According to the ministry, Nigeria has a total of 250 medium and large-sized dams with a combined storage capacity of about 30 billion cubic meters. On irrigation projects, the report said 4 of them had been completed, while 6 others were ongoing. The Minister of Transportation, Rotimi Amechi, has said he needs 36 billion naira, $36 billion to connect the entire railway nation by rail. Amechi said this on a news program. According to him, the railway is capital intensive and this has made it difficult for private firms to invest in the sector. He said the reason the Nigerian government had been borrowing funds from overseas was because only the government was able to come up with the needed collateral to take such loans. The former governor of Rivers State said President Muhammadu Buhari had done exceedingly well in the area of infrastructure, but said he feared that the gains of the Buhari regime would be reversed if People's Democratic Party takes over in 2023. Investors in the Nigerian stock market gained 1.24 billion naira in 2021 as the market capitalization of equities rose by 5.89%. The all-share index of the Nigerian Exchange Limited closed the year at 42,706.44 basis points, up from 40,272 BPS at the end of 2020. The total market value of equities rose to 22.30 trillion naira from 21.6 trillion naira at the end of 2020. The Vice President, Professor Yemi Osibajo, said recently that the profit-taking activities of foreign and domestic institutional investors in the Nigerian stock market had created an excessive risk premium. He said to usher in the return of foreign and domestic institutional participation, all government agencies and regulators in the financial system, among other key stakeholders, must work with the NGX to tackle the excessive risk premium within the market. Welcome to the international scene. South Africa bid its final farewell to Archbishop Desmond Tutu with the Requiem Masses on Saturday morning in Cape Town's Anglican Cathedral, a sober and simple ceremony he had arranged himself. Gray skies and a light drizzle welcome mourners at St. George's Cathedral, including Tutu's family and friends, but also the widow of the country's last white president, F.W. de Klerk, and many priests arrived at the church in debris and drabs. President Cyril Ramaphosa delivered the eulogy after communion, describing Tutu as a moral compass and national conscience. The cathedral can hold 1,200 worshippers, but only 100 mourners were allowed to attend the funeral because of COVID-19 restrictions.
Recognizing the injustices of our past set us apart from many societies in transition. Alongside President Nelson Mandela, Archbishop Desmond Tutu helped to steer our nation through this very challenging and painful period.
The euro on Saturday marked 20 years since people began to use the single European currency, overcoming initial doubts, price concerns, and a debt crisis to spread across the region. European Commission Chief Ursula von der Leyen called the euro a true symbol for the strength of Europe, while European Central Bank President Christine Lagarde described it as a beacon of stability and solidity around the world. Euro banknotes and coins came into circulation in 12 countries on January 1st, 2002, greeted by a mix of enthusiasm and skepticism from citizens who had to trade in their Duchess marks, French francs, pesetas, and lires. The euro is now used by 340 million people in 19 nations, from Ireland to Germany to Slovakia. Bulgaria, Croatia, and Romania are next in line to join the Eurozone though people are divided over the benefits of abandoning their national currencies.
Will also be reflected in the design of the new euro bills that the ECB is preparing for. I am already looking forward to holding them in my hands.
About 100 activists attempt to gather for an unauthorized protest against COVID vaccines and restrictions despite police presence and some arrests in Stuttgart, southern Germany. France announced an easing of COVID restrictions from Monday, and Britain's health minister said curbs were an absolute last resort as government faced tough choices between controlling the virus and keeping economics open. The virus scourged the dampened New Year's celebration around the world. Coronavirus cases have scourge globally in recent weeks, fueled by the emergence of the highly transmissible Omicron variant, and the pandemic dampened New Year's celebrations yet again. About 100 activists attempt to gather for an authorized protest against COVID vaccines and restriction despite the police presence. Police patrol the Champs-Élysées in Paris as wearing face masks outburst becomes mandatory in the French capital amidst a surge in the Omicron variant of COVID-19. Wearing face masks outdoors became compulsory against the Paris on Friday in a bid to slow the spread of the Omicron variant of COVID, while restrictions were also introduced for the New Year weekend. The mandate applied from Friday, December 31st to everyone over the age of 11 except those inside vehicles, cyclists, cyclist users of two-wheel transport like scooters, and those doing sports, Paris Police Headquarters said in a statement. Police justified the measures saying people in Paris constantly and gathering of or crowd are numerous. Patrols would be stepped up in busy areas to enforce the new rules, police said, and those who flouted the laws could face a 135 euro fine.
Actuellement, on s'efforce avec mes collègues, en plus de sécuriser les Champs-Élysées en ce soir de 31 décembre, de s'assurer que cette obligation du port du masque est assurée. C'est le cas pour un grand nombre de personnes.
A rescue ship carrying 440 migrants has been allowed to disembark in Sicily, capping a year that saw more than 67,000 arrived on Italy's shores. The rescue ship has been patrolling the sea off the Libyan coast since November 2017, one of several operated by non-profit groups to help often overcrowded and leaky vehicles transporting migrants across the central Mediterranean into Europe. Earlier this week, more than 500 migrants began disembarking in Sicily from the Geo-Barents ship operated by Doctors Without Borders after nearly 2 weeks at sea. Pope Francis urged the world to roll up our sleeves for peace in the New Year's message while calling violence against women an affront to God. Marking the 55th World Day of Peace, the head of the world's 1.3 billion Catholics devoted his Angelus address to encouraging a stop to violence around the world, telling the assembly crowded at St. Peter's Square in Vatican City to keep peace at the forefront of their thoughts. The Pope reminded the faithfuls that peace required concrete actions, such as attention to the most fragile, forgiving others, and promoting justice. Francis, who in March begins the 9th year of his papacy, called violence against women an insult to God during a mass in honor of the Virgin Mary earlier Saturday in St. Peter's Basilica.
Bella notizia per tutti, specialmente per chi è ai margini, per i rifiutati.
And that's all on News Live, but before we go, a recap of the headlines. 2 abducted Kaduna Baptist students regain freedom, 1 still held. Olubadan of Ibadan, Oba Saliu Adetunji, dies at 93. Plus, South Africa bids final farewell to Archbishop Desmond Tutu. Many thanks for watching. I am Nsikak Evans. Please stay tuned and enjoy the rest of our programs.